Thanks, Dan. Good afternoon. I'm Tom Demmer, State Representative from Dixon. You know, over the last 10 years, members of the House and the Senate in Illinois have been elected from gerrymandered districts that were drawn primarily for a political advantage and not to maximize the voices of the people of Illinois who were sworn to serve. Over those years, we've repeatedly drawn attention to the sometimes absurd district boundaries that carve up communities, that run down the middle of the street and leave one side of a neighborhood in one district and the other side in someone else's district. We've repeatedly talked about how this hampers the ability for Illinois residents to know who represents them in the Capitol, to understand which districts they fall in, which candidates they should listen to during election seasons. We've also talked about the fact that these political entrenchments, these situations in which politicians pick their voters instead of voters picking their politicians, has a chilling impact on our ability to debate the important issues of the day here in Springfield. Through the last decade as well, hundreds of thousands of Illinoisans and several groups across the political spectrum have talked about how fair maps are a common sense step forward, a way that Illinois could help shed the culture of corruption and the culture of insider dealing that's plagued us for far too long. Hundreds of thousands of Illinoisans signed petitions to try to get a chance for voters to weigh in on a fair maps amendment to the Illinois Constitution, only to be blocked at every step of the way by those who benefit from the status quo. Even Governor Pritzker, when he was a candidate, said that he would not sign a map, a political map that was drawn by politicians. As we enter the year of the census, 2020, across the country, in communities and neighborhoods, people are going to be counted. So we understand who lives where in the state of Illinois. So we can ensure that the next round of maps are drawn fairly and equally. We should also ensure that those maps are not drawn for political purposes. And we should give the people of Illinois the opportunity to hold us to a higher standard, to hold us to a point of accountability, so that we're actually representing the needs of the district that we represent and not just of those political bosses who chose to draw a map in a certain way. Fair maps are not a partisan issue. Republicans and Democrats, again, across the political spectrum, have signaled their desire for fair maps, maps drawn in an objective way and not drawn by political insiders. This is something we should be able to come together on and give the people of Illinois the tools they need to hold elected officials accountable.